The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting groups. If you'd like to produce a show, call us at 260-421-1250.
Let me be your lighthouse so I can show you the way. Let me be your shining light, keep you from drifting away. I'm the one that makes you try when...
This is Patty Hunter of Patty's Page. Welcome to my show. Today to my left is Terrence or Terry Doran. And on the phone is our good friend, Gene Roach. Gene?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. This is Gene Roach on the phone. Where are you from?
Okay. Right now I live in Rapid City, South Dakota. I'm an enrolled member of the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe, the Mini Koju tribe, actually. I've been involved with Leonard for many years. Me and my brother are survivors of the 1975 Oglala shootout.
Leonard
I started
Peltier.
working back with the committee. I've been off and on through my life involved in this case, so I know a lot of the history. I've been to the trials. Beetle Butler's, Leonard Peltier's, both his escape trial and his the trial up in Fargo. And a couple times to the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals, to several different, protests, prayer circles, you name it. DC, United Nations, we've been everywhere for him.
You've done a lot of sweat lodges?
Oh yes, that's our way of life.
Gene, could you just kind of set up what happened on the ranch back on that fateful day? And you said you were there, that it landed Leonard in a life sentence in prison unjustly. What happened?
Yeah, well, basically, it doesn't really start there. This has been a cycle that's been ongoing. We consider Leonard a political prisoner.
Wow.
For one, I'll talk about the Oglala thing, but what I'm saying is that we've been a target of the United States government for many years, and we still are. And that has so many levels of it, too. But starting with the American Indian movement, made a lot of changes, and the time that we're talking about in the 1970s, we were addressing many of the double standards that we still address today. And one of them is just wanting to be our own people, pray in our own way, live our own life. We got brains, we're smart enough to, make our own decisions. But, so this ongoing fight for Leonard, he happens to be the last person that was gone to court for whatever happened, the firefight, the result when Joe Stuntz was actually killed there. He's from the Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And people seem to forget that, he sacrificed his life, for living, wanting to be our own people, basically. The grandma and the grandpa had invited Leonard and them to stay on their lands, grandma and grandpa jumping boat. They had their family that lived there also. Dennis Banks was living there. He was going to court in Custer for the riots that happened in 1972. Him and his family was staying there. We had Wallace Little and his family that lived there. There's a lot of people living there at this land. We had a spot where we were camping at, and we had like this camp reminded me so much of what happened in Standing Rock. So much parallels concerning the way they desecrated our spiritual inipi or sweat lodge.
Yeah.
They desecrated in Standing Rock the same way they did in Oglala. You know, they kicked it in, they left their search warrant inside. They tore up our camp, they, you know, knifed our tents, looted through our stuff, you know. It's the same old story that happened in the 1890s. I mean, that's what I'm saying. This keeps reoccurring, this, you know, this plan, or actually what it was 70s is called CalPro, which is a program that was initiated by the United States government through the FBI to discredit and manipulate movements, whether it was the American Indian movement, the Black Panthers. It was used on several different type of movements. But Leonard was the scapegoat of the whole situation in Oglala. And one thing that happened then, on the same time period, during like either the same day as the shootout or a day before, I'm not sure, but the then tribal chairman, 66,000 acres of land, and you know, it's always related to that, or movement, you know, it's based on spirituality, American Indian movement, and we were enemies of the current administration at that time in 1970, which was Dick Wilson and the Goon Squad. And they were backed by the United States government, who gave them automatic weapons when they had Wounded Knee. That place was surrounded with APCs as a military operation against us, which we probably barely owned at the time, you know, single-shot 22s. I mean, we weren't even armed like they were. But that was part of the attack on our people that continued on their spirituality. And not only that, but just our whole way of life.
That is so not
They
right.
came in, huh?
That is so not right what they have done to.
Yeah, and you know, like some of the evidence that's coming up today, they have pictures of the grandma and grandpa's place. You know, a long time ago, you know, we were more of a self-sufficient people. They had root cellars into the side of the hill that they kept their crop, you know, their squash and all that inside of there. And that's what they considered supposedly part of their whole plan to raid our camp. Was they've seen bunkers, which were actually root cellars from way back. You know, there's so much manipulation and why they was there, trying to find somebody that, you know, took somebody's cowboy boots. I mean, what the heck does that mean? You know, that doesn't mean anything. I mean, it's just all, I don't know why they came.
You don't know.
You know, they're,
I haven't.
yeah. But, you know, basically what they're saying is just that, you know, they're afraid of us when we start to unite. And basically what was going on in the community of Oglala is they were uniting to pull themselves away from Pine Ridge area, which was Dick Wilson and his Goon Squads who controlled that. So they were organizing in Oglala to, you know, get away from that. They were being, you know, they were being used for their head count, whatever, to get money, which never actually gets it to the people, the community. So I'm not sure exactly what their plans were, but we were there basically when people had ceremonies, you know, whether a sweat lodge or another ceremony. They were being attacked by the Goon Squads because they didn't believe in tradition, and anybody that was practicing or, you know, or praying in our own way, we were actual targets.
Well, that's
So
not
the
right.
security was brought in to make sure that people were not harmed, even though there was over 60 people that were killed on that reservation since 75 to 73. That were never, their murders were never investigated because they were AIM people or traditional people. So that's what type of environment we were surviving in. At the time, I was like 14 years old. Most of us there at the camp were young. We're getting ready for the Sundance, and we just helped the grandma and grandpa just celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary, you know. So there was not like, I think the media came out saying that we were 30 well-armed guerrillas, and we just looked at each other and we're just like, kids, what do they mean by that, you know?
I don't like
So
it.
what are
when-
they talking about? The manipulation of the media, you know, the stereotypes that they use to justify coming in there and the military style that they came in was outrageous for a bunch of kids, really. But, you know, and the way they, the whole reservation was like you couldn't even drive anywhere without being afraid to being shot at or killed. What I'm saying is there's that many murders that happened. People walking or just big drive-by shootouts at their homes and stuff. So when this happened in 1975, that's what we were living in, you know.
What's it like now?
So when Gino Butler and Bob Robsey went to court for the same charge as Leonard was charged with, they were acquitted on the basis of self-defense. The police manipulation and their misconduct was considered in that case, which is not allowed in Leonard Peltier's case in Fargo, North Dakota. Anything to do with Butler and Robsey's case was ruled irrelevant to the case.
It was a scapegoat.
Well, it was just a big setup. And one of the things that the United States government was, they manipulated because Leonard knew he wouldn't get a fair trial. So he was in Canada when he was caught. So the Canadian government basically said the only way they would extradite him is through an eyewitness, which they found. Myrtle Poorbear, poor lady, she was threatened. She wrote 3 different affidavits that all clashed with each other. They took those to Canada. And the only way she made those affidavits is she was threatened.
No.
You know, you're going to end up, you know, just like Anime Adcox is what she had, you know, that was her statement. So when they took her affidavit to Canada, Leonard didn't even know who she was. He never even heard. He never ever met her before. So that was like, what? Why do they do stuff like that? You know?
Corrupt.
It was all a made-up lie. And so when it came down to the trial time, to bring her in and, you know, tell her story, what happened, they wouldn't allow that testimony either, even though that secured the way from Canada to send him down through extradition with her eyewitness account. So they keep making these big lies up, and, you know, it just really, I mean, and I think they do the same stereotyping that, you know, they can justify using that way back when they massacred our people, that, you know, in Wounded Knee, that, you know, like in 1890, that we were nothing. They used the media to stereotype us as something that we weren't, or as less than human status, you know what I mean? They did the same when they did in Wounded Knee 1973. You know, they tried to justify that, you know, to use all that military stuff, that we were like a threat. Same with Oglala. I mean, the story continues on through different time eras.
And today?
So, oh yeah, today too. Today we're not treated any better. Right now they're trying to do away with, you know, we have a treaty that was signed by our forefathers in 1868, Fort Laramie, that states the certain areas of the land that we should have control of. And that one of them is the Black Hills. And that's been taken since the gold rush of the 1870s, you know. Right away, the treaties were just a big lie, too, that they did just to keep us, you know, they actually, you know, the programs they use against us is so ugly. You got the boarding schools, you got the breakdown of the families. I mean, it's just really terrible. Their spirituality is one of the things that they were really scared of when they killed Sitting Bull, and they were going after Bigfoot's people, who were actually the people that were massacred, the Minikoju, in 1890 in Wounded Knee. And that was all based on them being scared of the ghost dance or spirituality. That movement is the same as the American Indian movement, with their spirituality coming back, because until 1977, it was against the law for us, you know, to go to a sweat lodge even, or have a sun dance. And that's not that far back, you know.
No, it
This
isn't.
is after this happened in 1975.
This was 40 years ago, dear. Right?
1977?
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
before 1975,
Yeah.
when the law changed, the federal law.
When did they start changing for quote, the better within the last several years, or any better?
Well, I don't know what that means. I think the better would be we being treated as humans on an equal level and respect. That hasn't. We still have our treaties that haven't been honored yet, and that's one of the violations of them even being in Oglala when that happened. There's treaty violations along with international violations. They even violated their own laws. I mean, they changed the law so many times that it's just like really hard to keep track of. But Leonard is sitting in there for aiding and abetting. That's his charge, what he's sitting there for. And they manipulated that into a stereotype that a lot of people believe he's in there for murder. No, he is not. He's in there for aiding and abetting, and his co-defendants were acquitted on the basis of self-defense. So, I mean, that's all manipulation right there. Who did he aid and abet? The rest of us were all under the age of 18.
Oh. What do you want to say, Tara?
Well, this terror that the American government imposes on your people, indigenous people of America, started practically the first day this country was founded. You know, we live in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Fort Wayne is named after Anthony Wayne, who committed genocide against the native people here, sent by George Washington. And we whitewashed that into some sort of noble crusade, and the city is named after him with a big statue of him on a horse in a downtown park. So this is the way the country started. It continues, and you're an example, and you're so eloquent in describing all of this. But you know, we live in a country that every day is waging war on terror, and we should look at ourselves, look in the mirror. You want to see who's waging war on terror. I mean, you had mentioned that this is what we're doing to the native people of America.
Yeah. One of the things too that people don't understand, and I tried to explain that, is that this didn't just start, you know, with Standing Rock. It didn't just start with Oglala.
Custer.
It was Wounded Knee, but it's a continuation of genocide. There's a moment there when they thought they had us, like, you know, they disrupted our families. They sent our kids to like boarding schools when they were like 5 or 6 years old until they were in 12th grade. You know, that's a long time to be away from your family.
Yeah, and they made you get rid of your own language, your own culture, your own dress. They wanted to turn you into us.
That day. Yeah.
Who gave them the right to do that?
Boarding schools.
Who gave these people the right to do that to you?
To so many people. I mean, right now, a lot of the stories are coming out about the boarding schools. You know, it's just sad. It really is.
I have a question.
They had to go through
Go ahead.
being beaten and raped. And we have a boarding school here in Rapid City that, you know, was in full progress like in the late 1800s to the turn of the century. But I don't know. The stories, you know, they've been lost. You know, the girls used to come down, walk down, and, you know, work in the hotel here, this old hotel here.
Mm-hmm.
They don't tell the real stories of what really happened to them, you know. And they just built their track field on one of our graveyards. I'm like, geez. You know, it's just really sad the things that everybody in so many different areas of the world, I mean, the Turtle Island here, on the Americas, you know, in Canada, down south, what we've gone through is a lot similar. You know, we have different people, you know, they had Kit Carson and the Navajos, and we had, you know, Custer, but, you know, the same plan, genocide.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Well, it's just like, for Leonard, you know, he represents more than just his case has so many violations that it's just sad that judges have acknowledged that they don't know why he's in there. You know, they put that in the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals. George Haney, you know, he made a statement about Leonard, and that they didn't know who was actual, you know, why, who the actual people were that, or the person that, he didn't know what part Leonard actually had in this, you know, and he would, you know, put him as the shooter, or it doesn't matter anyway, because whoever, you know, went to court should have been acquitted on the basis of self-defense. They attacked our camp, you know.
So,
We have a right to protect ourselves. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking to you right now.
That's
you know?
right.
I would. And my little brother was only like 10 years old, and they still shot at him. They didn't care.
Is he all right?
Yeah.
I have a question. With Trump pardoning a lot of people, you think just maybe we can get Mr. Peltier out of that prison?
Well, I don't know. Does anybody know him on a personal level? I don't know. We're hoping that, you know, the truth about how the FBI manipulated would come out, but then again, he's so racist, I don't know.
I don't
think justice matters to him. That's my personal view.
That saddens
But
me.
maybe there's a chance, you know, if he sees the manipulation of the FBI, maybe he'll, like, grant him, release him. You know, he's been in there for a very long time. The longest time that anybody's been in there, 42 years.
42.
No longer than Mandela. Mandela sat, what, 30 years?
How old is
That's
he?
a long time to be in there. Leonard is 72.
72.
Yeah, and his heart, you know, he just had open heart surgery last summer. Like I was saying earlier, you know, to have to heal up in that type of environment where, you know, you can't just lay down when you want to, and you can't, you know, you can't have narcotic drugs, you can only barely have aspirin. And I'm sure that pain hurts when you get cut down the middle of your bone, you know. There has to be some really long, I know I broke my leg one time, it took me like a year to really walk on it good, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's a lot of healing time, not having access to medicine, he's a diabetic. And you have to have special, better foods when you're a diabetic, you know,
I'm diabetic, I know what you mean.
Yeah, you don't get access to the, you know, especially the medicines that we have, you know, there's a lot of herbs that are available. The health heal, you know, it's no longer about having their pain pills, it's more like being able to heal and the fresh air, you know, the heart, the mind, the body, you know, you don't get to have all that. And I'm just like, a lot of people like to tell him stories that are going to help him do this and that, you know, but, you know, he needs a good healing of the spirit.
Yes,
you know,
he does.
I'm on quarterings with him, and he's in pain on a daily basis, you know, not only in his mind, but his body now, you know.
When are you seeing him?
We're really pushing an international push of anybody and everybody, you know, we need to get him out. That's a grandpa sitting in there. That's an elder now, you know. And there's no proof that he should be in there. He's done his time at all, you know. That's not even a question now.
The FBI just wants to...
Yeah, they're just using him as a scapegoat, as an example. And that's not fair. You know, we paid a lot for this, we're the situation where we're at. You know, people think we get everything free. That's not true. We gave up a lot, or people have given up a lot to be where we're at. And Leonard, he's done the same. You know, he needs to just get out. He's done his time, for whether it was right or wrong, but he's done way over his time according to the standard of 1976.
Yeah.
A life sentence was considered 7 years, and he was given 2 consecutive. So he should have been out in 14 years. Now, you take that to 40-some years, how many life sentences he's done? At least 6, according to their law then. But I don't know where exactly it's been changed at, but I know they've made a change, but that doesn't mean that when he was sentenced in 1976, that should have been, you know, that should have been the way he was treated. But, of course, they always change it. When we're involved as Native people, and even black people, I've seen, you know, they've been treated really wrong too, but
I don't understand.
We have a history, and Leonard's one of the many people that are sitting in prison. We have a lot. we have a lot of representation, but you know, that's a part of the whole genocide, is to break up our families and our people. We have a lot of men in prison. We have a lot of women. You know, we have a lot of disease. You know, not only the diabetes, we have a high rate, so we have suicide. You know, there's just so many things that we're struggling with as a people.
The Creator is with you. The Creator is indeed with you. He is in control. I know
Yeah,
He
we
loves.
would probably not be here if we didn't have our faith.
That's
We
true.
still have our religion. You know, we still have our prayers. So yeah, that is proof.
Never give up. Never.
Yeah, never. So we just took that's one thing that I've been running into as a, you know, I'm a member of the board. We went to United Nations, 2 of us last month, and people are like, well, we did this before we did that, but hey, you know what? This is now. I can't sit at home and just wait, you know, what are we waiting for? Let's make some noise, you know, we need people to get him out. We really need people to support Leonard. Write to him, you know, write to your Congress people. Try Trump. If you know somebody that knows him, we need somebody to talk to him about this case, you know. That's one way, but for me, I'd like the international push. We need people to support us from all over the world. Again, even though they did it maybe last year, year before, 20 years ago, we need people to say it again. You know what I mean? Let's not let him be forgotten in there. He needs to get out.
More power to you,
Not right
girl.
to keep that elder.
More power to you.
Wherever you know that
Yeah.
can make a difference.
Ah, yes.
Do it.
I'll do that. We'll spread the word.
And we have a website. It's called whoisleonardpeltier.info. So you need the latest. That's usually the best place to go for the latest information.
And last note, Leonard has done artwork, and he has that helps you guys to get decent defense for Leonard, selling his artwork.
Yes. And that's all on the website too. So whoisleonardpeltier.info. And we also have a Facebook page, International Leonard Peltier Defense Committee on Facebook. So there's several different ways to get in touch, but we use the web, and his art has a link there. I think he has a separate site.
Yes, ma'am.
But yeah, he has some beautiful, beautiful pieces in original and some prints.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
check them out. Thank you too.
What would you like to say?
Thank you.
Well,
Thanks.
thank you, dear. Stay on the line.
Okay.
Okay, this is Patty Hunter of Patty's Page. Thank you for listening in. Let's free Leonard Peltier. He's not alone. The whole world is watching now. And we're going to help him the best way we can. We're going to be one, branch in the whole root of a tree that's trying to get Leonard safe and sound out of prison. So
I agree. Very well put. Leonard's been in there 42 years. I think he's been in 3 different facilities. I believe he started in Leavenworth. That's when I did the phone interview with him on my show. He called in from Leavenworth. I'll never forget it. To hear his voice, and his artwork is beautiful, and so is his writing. He's a wonderful artist and a great ambassador for justice.
thank you, people. Tune in next week. See ya.
Godspeed, my love, until we meet again. You're always in my heart and every dream. Don't let this time apart give in to all our fears. God will keep us close from up above.